Hello YouTube. I'm in the middle of doing axles and putting a lift on this Element. It's my personal vehicle. And I wanted to show you what my setup is going to look like for the rear because I'm going to carry a lot of stuff, so I don't want it to sag. And the Element's really bad about having a negative camber on the rear wheels when it's loaded down. So first things first, this is the spacer. It's going to go on both struts. And then these shocks are important. For whatever reason, the Element and CRV are based off the same platform, but CRV shocks sit higher than Element shocks. So there is your part number, 341463. Adjustable upper control arms so it won't camber in. These are from Element 44. He's on Instagram. Lower arms, and they're like have a higher clearance than the stock arms. They're a lot thicker. They have a bushing in here. Aerogenics sell some. I've seen mixed reviews on them, and they're aluminum, so they're not necessarily as strong. But Aerogenics does sell these Swift springs that are a lot sturdier and stiffer than the stock springs. So when this all gets on, I will take a video and upload it for you guys, in case you want to know what your setup is going to look like if you go with it. Quick tip, spray everything with this the day before, and your life will be a lot easier. Schaefer Penetro 90, you can get it on Amazon. Okay, so it's wet because I just sprayed it with some Schaefers. These are the spacers for the rear subframe. That little spacer, that's for the charcoal canister. But the spacers are in for the rear subframe, and that green spacer back there, that's the spacer for the diff mount, the rear differential mount. So, but basically all that suspension setup is about to look way different. This is the before, and I'm excited to see what everything will be like after. I've already started getting these out. Remember, if you want to use these CRV shocks on this, you're going to have to change out the top hat, which means you're going to need these bad boys. Don't get one without a lock. These have a lock. And be careful. That's all I got to say about that. I'm losing my light. There is a top and bottom to the spring. If the spring looks like this and it seats, then you have it on the right way. If it does not seat all the way flush on the bottom, then you need to flip it over. Okay, after the top hat is off, you can get the death trap out of the way. That's still under pressure, so be careful. You'll notice that it has a shoulder right here and it gets bigger. And that's for the bumper right here. Now, how do you get the stop ring off? Because usually it's going to be rusted on there. You're going to need 2 pair of water pump pliers. Put it right there on the shaft. Your best pair of pliers on the smallest one. You're going to throw this away, so who cares? Take your other one and put it around here, and you'll spin it, and when you get those freed up, okay, I could not get enough grip on the shaft, so I moved it over here to the threads where I could sink into them, because like I said, we're throwing it away. Put that pair of water pump pliers around that, span it, freed right up. Now we can transfer everything over to the new unit. Exact way it came off. I am not left-handed, so I'm gonna go. Bye. All right. These are loose. Let's get it off. All right, this is for the people who take it out of the box and then get mad and say, these are the same size. There's no difference. There is a big difference, and it has to do with where this plate is welded to the strut. This plate is welded to the strut about 1 inch higher, which means the spring is already more compressed when it goes on. So what that means is if you look at the distance between here and here, and here and here, this one is a lot more, even though both the top hats are lined up. So that means the spring is already compressed and it's naturally going to make you ride higher. So that's really the only difference between these two struts. It's not necessarily that it's longer. Hello, fellow Element enthusiasts. It is I, the dude. I've got the Element 44 lower control arms in. When weight comes on the wheel, this will come out, this will swing up, and it will change the angle to be more normal. I have got my CRV shocks in. I have got my Aerogenics springs in. And the guys in the forums reassured me that these springs, even though they look identical to the OEM springs, are cold rolled. Several people said it made them way higher, and they didn't change the shocks, and they didn't have the lift spacer on. They just did the springs, and it made it ride higher. And then, of course, there is the lift. So, and then the adjustable upper control arm is now in place. So if I need to get my camber correct, I can use this. Okay, a couple of installation tips. One, take the parking brake cable loose. Leave the brake cable loose until the very end. And then 3, you're gonna have to take a floor jack and move the lower control arm up, and naturally it will kind of swing out. And at the same time, you're gonna take another jack and move this so the hub goes in, because the hub pivots separately. And the reason you want to do that is to get your upper control arm on. So this is a lot easier than trying to fight it. I'm just turning this by hand, like I'm not trying to get it into a bind. Another way you can make it easier is, I guess, if you had strut compressors that are really small, you could leave them on and it would probably make it easier. But this really isn't bad. We're getting there. So, okay, so everything's lined up. Now, hopefully we can stick a bolt through it like that. And let's see what this side looks like. See, I'm gonna go down a little bit. See how easy that is? I'm just moving the jack by hand. And it's making lining up that bolt a lot easier. Ta-da! A lot easier than fighting it. Success.
I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow. Call me offensive even though Joe, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still